WNBA throws a full-on tantrum fit after Caitlyn Clark's departure because honestly Clark didn't owe the WNBA her loyalty, not after the way they treated her, so she did what anyone with a brain would do. She left now instead of owning up to their colossal failure. The WNBA is crying and scrambling pretending they're shocked, but guess what, it's too late. Clark won't be stepping back into their league, no matter how much they beg, grovel, or try to backpedal. She's just not built for the physicality of this league. Yeah, and she's not quick enough to get away from the physicality. But now, thanks to a mix of stupidity and outright negligence, she's packed her bags and taken her talents to Europe. The WNBA just lost its biggest star and they're freaking out. The league that desperately needed her charm and talent couldn't even bother to protect her from getting brutalized on the court. Talk about shooting yourself in the foot. People are tuning in now. I'm not going to lie to you. I have not tuned in 1 second since Caitlyn Clark was eliminated, but that's not unusual for me. Caitlyn Clark has been the WNBA's saving grace, the one player capable of pulling in viewers and making people actually wanted to knit, but now thanks to a mix of stupidity and outright negligence, she's packed her bags and taken her talents to Europe. The WNBA just lost biggest star, and must be real, they're freaking out, but yes, she will have a target on her back as well. The league that desperately needed her charm and talent couldn't even bother to protect her from getting brutalized on the court. Talk about shooting yourself in the foot. Caitlyn Clark was hunted on that court like she had a giant bullseye on her jersey. The league stood there, watched, and did absolutely nothing. We're talking about a rookie here of fresh talent, and they still let her endure 177% more flagrant fouls than any other player. There was also a stat that came out a few weeks ago that said Caitlyn Clark received 17% of the WNBA flagrant fouls this season, and 80% of those flagrant fouls were committed by the Chicago Sky against Caitlyn Clark. Now this one that we see right here that I believe should have been a flagrant foul was not called. That there've been cheap shots, there've been hard fouls, there've been other players that haven't even been called flagrant fouls. You'd think that that's alone would make officials realize they were making a massive mistake. But nope, they just sat there twiddling their thumbs pretending this was normal. No wonder Clark said she felt hammered out there. Hammered is putting it lightly. What she faced was a coordinated beatdown. Kit called for some technical fouls. She struggled with physical defense she's faced at the professional level and voiced frustration with the league's officiating. Recently Tell reported, quote, "I feel like I'm getting hammered and everybody is physical with me and opponents get away with things that other people don't get away with." That's what Caitlyn Clark said. And let's not forget the eye job. Yes, someone jabbed in the eye so hard she was temporarily blinded. She had to stumble off the court, probably wondering if she was playing basketball, dodging punches. Industry by. And what did the refs do? Nothing, not a whistle, not a call. If this were LeBron or Curry, it would have been a full-blown scandal. But it's the WNBA, right? Just sweep it under the rug and hope no one notices. And I understand the frustration. You saw Caitlyn Clark's frustration, and you are so used to watching Clark thrive and flurry. Then there's the elbow straight your ribs because apparently play defense been throwing cheap shots. And now the message was clear, opponents would go to any length to bring her down, and the WNBA didn't give a single thought about protecting their best asset. They let this nonsense like game after game. Why? Because apparently watching Caitlyn Clark get mugged was their idea of good entertainment. The WNBA, his biggest blunder of the century, losing Caitlyn Clark. I mean, how dumb can they get? She single-handedly pulled the League of Shadows and into the spotlight, drawing over 1.5 million viewers per game. We can doubleheader ever with 2 games combined and an average 1.5 million viewers. That marks a 143% increase from what WNBA doubleheader on ABC year ago. Did you know that? Did you know that you know that? And what did the WNBA? They basically handed over to the bullies on the court. From day one she was the best thing to happen to them, but instead of protecting her, let her get pummeling, poked and prodded as if she was some crash test dummy. Way to go, WNBA. Protect your greatest asset by turning a blind eye. While she got more like it was some she'd backyard. Wrong. All the trials and tribulations, all of the debates that we've had at this desk right here, at the end of the day, she said, through with it. Just take a look at the numbers before Park. They were lucky to scrape together 500,000 viewers for the finals. But when she stepped in, ratings exploded. Even when she was eliminated, the player still managed to hang around the 1 million viewer mark. That's after she was out. It's a testament to the Caitlyn Clark effect. But instead of capitalizing on this golden opportunity, they stood by and let her get targeted on the court by players who acted like it was their personal mission to take her down. And the attendance, Clark packed arenas like a rock star. She set at WNBA record with 17,000 in fans at her season finale for a single game. Ticket sales shot up 60% 2023 alone, and the projections were skyrocketing by 93% for 2024, all because of her. Hey, now let's not talk viewership, let's talk ticket sales. Bear with me. Ticket sales grew in 2023 by 60% from 2022. Ticket sales have grown by 93% in 2024. What that means is without Caitlyn Clark, the WNBA would have taken until 2029 or 2030 to get to where Caitlyn Clark has gotten them today. She was dragging the entire league to success practically on her shoulders, and what did they do? They let a few jealous players beat the enthusiasm right out of her. It's as if the league didn't realize that hurting Clark was hurting their own bottom line. They let $5 million in ticket sales walk out the door without a second thought, and it's not just tickets. Her jersey was the top seller in WNBA history, making all the other so-called big names look like they were giving up freebies. But look at the Caitlyn Clark story. Just in the merchandise sold, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. But even as she broke merchandise records, the league geniuses sat back and let opponents make your life a living hell on the court, and the sponsors, oh, they saw her value. They flocked to her faster than you could save. Moneymaker, recognizing that Caitlyn Clark was the future of the sport. Meanwhile, the WNBA just stood there like deer in headlights, watching as she got elbowed, tripped, and smacked around game after game. But that at WNBA viewership, okay, game $7,300 in attendance, okay. The average age risk game is $10,100, $10,200. They come to watch her. You know the average attendance is when Caitlyn Clark plays home or the road. What, $15,300? Okay, she appeared in 22 of the 26 games that topped the million viewer mark. Meaning she was directly responsible for almost every game that broke the 1 million viewer barrier. Think about that. She was the reason people cared, not the lead, not some dusty old rivalries. Her. Yet despite the numbers flashing in their faces, they still allowed a bunch of want-to-be enforcers to go after her. This wasn't defense, this was personal. And the WNBA let it happen because they're too incompetent to protect their own stars. And when she gets it, she has elite skills that are going to really help her. But she needs to be on a better tee. Caitlyn Clark wasn't just boosting viewership, she was inspiring a whole new generation of girls. Was becoming a role model the same way kids used to watch Michael Jordan back in the day. Now little girls were watching Clark and saying, I want to be her. They were showing up in her jerseys, copying her style, and dreaming of being on that court one day. The WNBA had a chance to make her the face of the league, but instead they let her get brutalized, that of pettiness and jealousy. Merchandise up 450%, and now she's out of the playoffs. What a gift for the WNBA and for ESPN for that matter. But now what happens? I'm really intrigued because there's a league with players that feel like they should be getting the attention. Now they have center stage, but the ratings are going to go down. How far though? That's the key. And now they're left scrambling because they blew it. She's off to Europe, where this you won't have to worry about getting ambushed every time she steps onto the court. The WNBA is stuck wondering what the hell happened. Sure, they might have held on to these ratings for a little longer, but without her the league is a sinking ship. They didn't just lose a player, they lost the player, the one who was making women's basketball cool again. The one who brought the fans the money, the attention, all of it. People are tuning in now. I'm not going to lie to you, I have not to in 1 second since Caitlyn Clark was eliminated, but that's not unusual for me. They didn't just fail her, they failed women's basketball as a whole. It's not just a loss for the league, it's a message to every young girl who looked up to or don't expect to be treated fairly, even if you the best. So good luck trying to rebuild now. WNBA, you had the brightest star in the sky and you let her get bullied right out the door. What kind of league does that? A dysfunctional one, that's what. Instead of building a brand around one of the brightest stars in women's basketball, they let her get treated like a punching bag, and the bullies, oh, they had a field day. These players act like Fallon Clark with some kind of badge of honor. They didn't just they savored it, they knew the league would look the other way. No fines, no suspensions, nothing. These so-called professionals walked around like get accomplished something, grinning after every dirty play, fully aware that the WNBA was too spineless to do anything about it. $76,000 is not enough for someone. You are looking to be the face of the league going forward. This isn't just Caitlyn Clark's problem, it's a WNBA problem. They should have nurtured her talent, built the league around her, made her the face of women's basketball, but instead they let her be bullied out the door. The message they've sent: skill and talent mean nothing if the league's not willing to step in and protect its stars. The WNBA had one job: to create a safe and competitive environment, and they failed miserably. She signed a 4-year, just over $300,000 rookie. Salaries are here. We are Caitlyn Clark's departure's going to echo through this league for a long time. What does it say about the WNBA when its brightest star has to run to another continent just to get treated like a human being? It says this league has some serious soul searching to do. And as for those players who found her repeatedly and got away with it, enjoy your hollow victory. You didn't just push out a player, you exposed the WNBA for the joke it is.